Hi, it's Teresa with Crafty with Teresa. Thank you for joining me today. In today's video, I will be showing you a large slimline card. I'm much more comfortable with the standard A2 cards, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. However, I wanted to try to get outside of my comfort zone. Not only did I work with the larger slimline card, but I mixed some colors I haven't used together before. Plus, I also created the patchwork look. Whew! Hope you like it. Now let's get to crafting. I grabbed a few of the dye inks and used my newest stamp set. I took the various squares and created a patchwork look. It didn't turn out exactly like I had hoped, but I went with it all the same. Tell me what you think. First, I'll take the various dots, flowers, and random rectangles and ink them up with my dye inks. I used mint, desert rose, and charcoal. I stamped them 4 times to start with. Then I decided I needed one more color, so I brought in the Carolina ink. I grabbed a 12 by 12 and cut it 9 inches and then turned it around and cut it at 8. Normally I would grab my scoreboard. Instead, I thought I'd show you a quick tip. In your paper cutter, you can take your bone folder and run it down where you would normally cut the paper. In this case, I'll do this at 4 inches because our card is 4 by 9. I'll add a note here with all of the card measurements so you can pause the video and grab them at your leisure. For my sentiment piece, I'll take the leftover 3-inch piece that I cut out earlier, then I'll grab my 3-inch pierced frame and run it through my die cutting machine. It's an older frame, so I don't have the information on it. However, I'll look and see if there's something similar to it and throw that in the notes in the description box. Next, I'll take all those rectangle stamped images and cut them down. I'm varying the strips because I'm not sure how I'll create the patchwork yet. I'll get all of these cut down and I'll be right back. Now here comes the fun part. I'm moving the strips around to see what I want to group together. This is not easy for me. Also, I have used one of my leftover strips of paper to line up the strips so I know they are nice and even. I eventually add a scrap piece of paper on the back to give the patchwork more dimension. Next, I need to get my stamps lined out. Normally I use the grid lines on my mat, but because I'm using my platform, that won't work. So here's another tip for you. I made my own grid mat. I took some grid paper and laminated it. That way I can line it up on the laminated sheet, then flip the lid over, grab the stamp, and I know that it'll be straight and lined to be placed on the cardstock. Now I'll grab a base piece of white daisy cardstock to start putting all the pieces together. First, I need to add the patchwork pieces. Once I get them on there, with my art glitter glue, I'll trim off the sides. If you haven't already seen me use the trick in other videos, here it is for you. I put my ATG tape down on the white paper, but in this case I wasn't sure how far to go, so I had to remove the extra tape. I will use my embossing buddy to do this. To make it easier to hold though, I keep the powder off my fingers, I grab a binder clip and clip it on the edge. This works out great for me. Now we're going to add more pieces onto the strip and give the sides a quick trim. I line it up and see exactly where I want it to fit. Then I'll grab some of my Love from Lizzie peel-offs so that I can make my patchwork square. Now I'm going to measure the peel off on my mat. In this case, I'm not wrapping it around the back, so I want the peel off to be exact. Then I like the placement, and I'll place it on my cardstock. Now I've decided I want to bring in more of that charcoal gray. I'm making a card for my brother-in-law, so I want to put the darker colors in here. So I grabbed a piece of charcoal cardstock and created my own pattern design on it. I took the dotted stamp and randomly stamped it onto the cardstock. This is what I call a tone-on-tone look, and I like it because it's subtle and it doesn't take away from the patchwork look. Next, I'll grab my huge roll of 3M tape. In hindsight, I wish I had grabbed my fun foam because I'm mailing it. Oh well, I think my brother-in-law is probably worth it. Just kidding, he is. Sorry, I meant to get this taped but didn't. So off screen, I put the two bases together and then grabbed some embellishments from my stash. I found a light charcoal star and a rose gold, very small gem. Last but not least, I'll add it to the card base, and here's how it turned out. I think it turned out great, and I think he'll like it. What do you think? Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you'll see new videos as they come out. Until next time, have a great day.